I want to respect everyone's time. It's 6 o'clock, so. Hi, Maggie. Can you hear me? Okay. Echo?
Is there an echo?
Do I got to talk in the mic for the video, though?
Okay. Well, let me just start with some housekeeping stuff.
Yep. Go ahead, Juliet.
Okay. Good evening. We're about to begin. Please take your seats. Before we begin, I would like to ask our Spanish interpreter to come forward to determine if their services will be needed this evening. I will now ask our sign language interpreter to come forward to determine if anyone requires their services. Thank you. I'm Juliet Azimi, Budget Director for the Chicago Park District. I would like to welcome you to the Central Region Budget Hearing for the 2013 operating budget. This is the second of 3 budget hearings. The South Region budget hearing was held yesterday, and the North Region budget hearing will be held Monday, September 24th at Horner Park. We'll start the evening off with opening remarks from our General Superintendent and CEO, Michael Kelly.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome all the familiar faces. There's a lot of friends in here, and there's certainly a lot of Park District staff. We're also streaming live on www.chicagoparkdistrict.com. We had a great turnout last night at South Shore, and tonight we're obviously at Douglas Park, so welcome. I'm going to make some brief remarks. This is a very good opportunity for the advisory councils and representatives from your communities to have a dialogue with us. I try to answer your questions or do whatever necessary from where I sit. If I can't or it's not an efficient way to continue the discussion, I'll ask you to go in the back and see usually one of my chiefs or someone who is best equipped to solve the problems, because that's really what we're here tonight for, is to solve the problems. Now, there are many legitimate needs in our parks, and we'd love, of course, to fulfill every one of them. In fact, this is my 9th year with the Chicago Park District at a budget hearing, and really these are set up to discuss our annual operating budget. However, oftentimes they do tend to be more about the capital budget. Either way, my staff is prepared to take any and all requests. I do want to remind folks that the economy still is sluggish, and I know it affects everyone in this room. It affects the Park District as well, and we have had to make cuts, as everyone knows, in the past. However, we've had great successes working together with people, and I do like to celebrate our victories, large or small. Before I continue, I'm looking at Art Richardson, and he's squinting, so I don't know, Art, are your eyes going, or can everybody hear me? I know there's an echo in this room. Is it okay? Okay. So, I'm proud to say this past year we built 20 new playgrounds throughout Chicago, and we included many others, one in the Central Region, Stanton Park. In fact, at last year's hearing, Craig Westcott, who I don't think Craig's here, but he came at us with TIF support for Stanton, and we were able to work with a playground, a basketball court, spray pool, and do another number of field house renovations through the TIF. Another representative was Arthur Relaford from Mandrake, and right now we're in the ground on a $1.1 million new artificial turf. In fact, it was a key, that artificial turf project at Mandrake, which is near the lake, in the 4th Ward, was a key point in a grant that the CHA applied for with HUD. So that's how that's how you leverage dollars to get some of these capital projects together. Some other parks that have seen some great projects this year were Davis Square, Humboldt, Fosco, and actually Douglas, where there's an artificial turf field going in on the west end of the park right as we speak. I do want to mention the mayor's summer safety surplus for $2.5 million, which increased youth programming across the city. The long and short of it is we when I took over a year ago, we prioritized children, and we changed our mission statement slightly, and we changed our charter to the bottom line to be children first. And you've heard a lot about children first, certainly during the CTU strike with the schools, but we've put kids first, certainly for a long time at the Park District, but we've highlighted it this past year. In fact, we saw a dramatic increase in our registration this year, nearly 28% over anything ever recorded for the summer at the Park District, and we're seeing record numbers again in the fall. I think that has a lot to do with the efforts of everyone at the Chicago Park District, from my level all the way down to the park supervisors. I think it also had to do with the fact that the communities came to us and they said over and over, lower the fees, quit raising the fees. And you know what, we did that. We lowered the fees, and places like West Lawn went from 150 children to 300 children this summer. So we do listen to the community, and we do make changes accordingly. Some of the other things we did with regard to programming are family discounts. I see some people in here with multiple children. We're offering discounts for every child over the first one that registers for one of our programs. The other thing we did is we're offering discounts for active military. In fact, active military are free in our program. So if husbands, wives, sons, daughters, if they're active military and they're home on leave and they want to work out, they want to play basketball, they want to play golf, it's all free for them. It's the least the Chicago Park District can do for what they do for us, serving our country. Some of the other highlights, again, normally a big topic of discussion in these budget hearings is positions. Everybody wants their attendant, their park supervisor, the rec leader hired, and I'm proud to say that we hired 4,000 people this past year, 4,000, including 57 full-time positions, 132 part-time positions, and 3,800 seasonal positions. We hired more than 1,700 positions devoted solely to administering programs within the parks. I mentioned the family and veteran discounts, the financial assistance. This is the big bold statement that I'm going to make, and it usually gets applause. I certainly got rousing applause last night. So I'm proud to say that in 2013 we are going to hold the line on taxes again for the 8th straight year. Again, we are not going to raise your taxes for the 8th straight year in 2013. A couple other things I'd just like to highlight again, and then we can get on with the program, is 5,000 students yesterday, or 5,000 students received free program these past 2 weeks during the CTU strike, and that is a testament, not only to what I think the product that we serve, but the people that we have serving it. I think we did a heck of a job during the teacher strike. Last but not least, I just want to once again remind you your participation is important. Your statements here, we don't have we can't solve everything. A lot of requests we get cost a lot of money, quite frankly. But that doesn't mean we don't hear you and we're not willing to work with you to try to solve those problems. With that, I want to quickly introduce my staff that's here today, some of the key people that I may direct you to during the course of the night. Mr. Steve Hughes, our Chief Financial Officer. Mr. Pat LeVar, our Chief Operating Officer, Tanya Anthony, our Chief Administration Officer, Vaughn Bryant, our Chief Programming Officer, and Lupe Garcia, our General Counsel. Now, before I introduce our Budget Director, Juliet Azimi, I do want to recognize Alderman Cardenas from the 12th Ward, who I invite to say a few words if he'd like.
Thank you, Superintendent. First of all, let me just thank you and your team. Mike here in Douglas Park, Richardson, throughout the region, doing a tremendous job for the parks, obviously. I'm obviously blessed to work with your team and for our communities. You talked about Davis Square Park, which got millions of dollars infusion for a new soccer field, and we've done that throughout the years. In 2003, we began with the idea that we needed to build a park in Little Village, and that's coming to fruition after so many years of hard work. And I want to acknowledge Senator Munoz and Senator Sandoval for bringing $8 million from the state. And again, this is 4 years ago. And so we have those $8 million, and we will acquire the field for about $8 million or so. So we have $8 million to work with. $16 million in total right now. We're going to need more money to build that park. Just to give you an idea what it takes time, it takes a team effort from not just your end from the Park District, but also from the legislators as well to bring those funds back to Chicago so we can make things happen. I want to acknowledge Brighton Park Community Council and its activists. They're here to talk about the needs of the community and working with them and you and your team in building a new Kelly Park. And we're going to make that a reality as well in 2013. So we've been working on that. We made a commitment. I know your team has made a commitment as well. McKinley Park, folks from McKinley Park are here as well. And that's a park that I inherited from the 11th Ward. We put a lot of effort, a lot of money into that park. I'm sure we're going to do more. There's a playground to that they want to build as well. And so we have certain things going on. But always keep it in mind, there's a budget, there's a process, and there's always timing. We never give up. We're going to make things happen. And we've done that throughout the years. But we just can't do it alone. I just want you to understand, from the community organizations and people and constituents, that your effort pays off, whether it's this year or next year or the following year, because sometimes it takes that dedication and that effortless from just wanting to get something done, that ultimately when it happens, you do feel, you feel fulfilled, you feel that you really accomplish things, and I feel that way today working with you. So I just wanted to say those remarks to people that are come here trying to understand a process, trying to understand how that budget process works, and why their community takes longer than other communities, or why them and not the other folks. Sometimes, it just happens that year we get to work on Little Village Park, and then next year we get to work on Kelly Park, and we worked on Davis Square Park, and we worked on McKinley Park. We're always doing something. We're always accomplishing things. So just keep that in mind, because we try to fulfill all the needs of all our constituents. So thank you again for your time and your effort. I do have to run and have other commitments as well. Always running and always trying to get things done. So I hope you guys appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, thank you again, Alderman Cardenas. Now I'd like to turn the mic over briefly to our Budget Director, Juliet Azimi, who will sort of lay out the 2013 operating budget for you.
Good evening. So to start off, I'd like to go over the 2012 budget, a brief overview. This budget was a $407.5 million spending plan, and the highlights of it were that there were no increases in program fees, and in many cases, as we just heard, there were reductions. There were no layoffs, but we did institute 3 shutdown days, and most importantly, there was no property tax increase, and as we just heard, there will be no property tax increase for the 8th year in a row. Property tax is our largest revenue source. But as you can see, we are one of 9 taxing bodies that benefits from the property tax. We receive only 6.34% of a typical property tax bill, which amounts to about $163. Also included in the 2012 budget were select fee increases to support neighborhood programs. This included some fees for golf, slip fees at our harbors, and some parking fees and select permit fees. There was no change in our support for museums in the park or zoo funding. We did have to rely on, we did institute $12 million in structural budget changes, which included such things as debt refinancing, and elimination of vacancies, and some reductions in central admin, in addition to some other personnel and non-personnel cuts. But still, we ended up relying on $13.3 million of our fund balance, which is our reserves. We had several new program initiatives that I think our superintendent went over pretty well, including Summer Teen League, family discount program, military discount, and a slam dunk program. At a high level, I wanted to show you where our resources come from. Our operating revenues comprise of predominantly property tax, but we also receive a portion of the corporate income tax known as PPRT. Other than that, we receive revenue from our privatized contracts, such as Soldier Field, our harbors, golf, parking, concessions, and the MLK Entertainment Center. In addition, we have various program fees, which we hold the line on, and permits and room rentals. On the expenditure side, predominantly about 42% are personnel expenses, followed by debt service at 22%, privatized contract management at 8%, and then our support of the aquariums and museums. This slide goes over some of our assistance to our partners, such as Lincoln Park Zoo, Grant Park Music Festival, Museums in the Park, and After School Matters. So looking forward to 2013 as we build our budget, we're in a state of uncertainty with the economy. We're doing a lot of rebuilding, as you know, but again, we are all still in a state of flux. We're in the midst of either flat or declining revenues against naturally rising expenditures. As part of our strategic plan, we are looking to reduce our structural deficit and our reliance on one-time revenue sources. So I'm asking that when you come forward that you keep these issues in mind when you're coming forward with your requests, that our resources are limited and in many cases declining, and although we'd like to fulfill all of your requests, we have constraints there. Overall, our budget goal is to support the Park District's mission and core values of putting kids first, being the best deal in town, providing facilities that are built to last, and putting in that extra effort. The upcoming key dates for the budget calendar are on the screen above. We already completed area meetings. We're holding these region hearings, and the next steps are to go before our board and release our documents to the public. Will be the week of November 16th, and ultimately it goes before our board in December and past December 12th. I'd like to point out that this is not your only opportunity to present ideas to us. We have on our website a budget ideas form that we'll be responding to. Any ideas that come through that form we'll be responding to at the end of these budget hearings. So now I'd like to start to invite people up to hear from you. Please remember to keep your comments to 2 minutes out of respect for the other speakers. We have a good number of speakers tonight, so I'm going to ask that people be considerate of each other and adhere to that 2 minutes. We have a timekeeper with an alarm that will be going off after 2 minutes. I'm going to ask that if you lose track of time, that you listen for that beep and wrap up your comments. Please be ready at the mic when it's your turn. I'll be calling 3 speakers at a time, starting with, let's see, Rhonda Loca, Commercial Park Advisory.
Yep. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Nice to meet you. I'm here to talk about 4 parks. Do we get 8 minutes?
No. I'm going to call up 3 speakers. So, Magdalena, Humboldt Park Advisory. Can't make out your last name, sorry. Martinez, sorry. And Teresa Medina, Dvorak Park.
Yep.
Hello, my name is Rhonda Locke, and with me is Jean McClure, the Vice President of Commercial Park Advisory Council. We are in the East Village neighborhood. We actually oversee not only Commercial Park, but we have 3 pocket parks that we oversee. Plus, there's to be a brand new park where the 13th Police District is going to be demolished, which we assume will come under our guidance as well. So We do have, like I said, 4 parks that we helped oversee right now. First of all, we've been in existence 12 years. Thank you. We have a long-standing, productive partnership. We have a brand new playground at Commercial as of the end of '08, after we helped to raise $270,000 towards that initiative. However, we do have a few requests. Most are minor. At Commercial Park, we are fully funding a mosaic bricolage. We're having a bit of a challenge getting approval, and we still would like to have some support for getting that installed. We have some just general maintenance needs that we continue to put in work orders for that just keep lagging. I've got one photo in that deck for you. And also, we've instituted a sunshade, a sun protection program, because we're trying to pursue some form of sunshade in the middle of the park. Again, we are looking to partner with the Park District and even fully fund that, but we do need partnerships on that. Snowberry is a little play lot on Honore and Wolcott. This has had some good resurgence after we've got a green team growing program going there. For the first time in all memory, we've not had the back chain cut by gang members. Who would have thought that plants could be that powerful? So positive loading going on there. But we do have a couple little things. Picture there, the toddler swings. This woman is 5'6". She has to lift her child up above her shoulders to get him into the toddler swing. I'd like to take a look at that. We've had a work order for some damaged handicap ramps that literally kids' feet can fall through. So that's been out there for over a month. So some little things that we'd like to have improved there. Again, we'll help fund it if need be. Superior Play Lot, thank you for the partnership there. We do have a paver project that we just got a PM, but the last page, Honore Play Lot, is the big need. This equipment continues to disintegrate. It's a danger. We've got rusted bolts where the old hand-me-down equipment that was given to the park like 20 years ago is just disintegrating. We have some money that we've raised. We thank you for the partnership with Circus in the Parks. We are one of the parks to have that. We will help fund it. I would just need to get, primarily, I've even got Scott Wagasback, which is the alderman for this park, saying, I'll bring my chainsaws over if need be. So we'd like to get some movement on this, and again, we're willing to partner on the dollars. So thank you very much. Oh, I have one last comment, I'm sorry. I know it's not a capital issue, but our park has as many park day campers as Wicker Park, Ecker Park, but we have 1/3 of the budget, 1/3 of the rec leaders. I'd like to set up a meeting at some point to talk about how we can just make sure that we've got proper funding for all the great programs that we're doing.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the comments. Couple things. One, I don't think Pat LeVar is in the room, but we will, on all these capital issues, we will follow up with you.
Okay.
With regard to the programming, I didn't mention it in my opening remarks, but for the first time, the Chicago Park District is tracking very detailed on where the programming is going and where the numbers are going. It's very simple. When you prioritize kids and you prioritize children first, we're going to start taking our resources and reflecting that. Parks that are generating large amounts of children, we're going to start reallocating our resources. And quite frankly, parks that aren't, we're going to have to look at long and hard because it just doesn't make any sense. Our goal is to get every kid in the park, and I would like all our parks to be at or near capacity moving forward. But when you don't raise taxes and you don't lay off staff and you do hire more people, we have to look long and hard at how we allocate our resources. So with that, thank you.
Okay,
and,
thank you.
We will work with you going forward.
Thank you, Superintendent Kelly, for having us here today. I would like to first start by thanking you. And this is not only for the movies in the park, for the Little Cubs Field. We had the beautiful movie at the Cubs Field there. Also, we had the Latin jazz and the Shakespeare. Everybody loved Shakespeare at the park. But I guess it was all the moving and flyering that we did in the neighborhood so that people would come. I want to thank you for Riot Fest. It was very positive. You know, it was long said that it would be negative, that problems were going to rise. And Max Weber did a fantastic job there. And I would welcome him back again next year if they decide to come back to Humboldt Park. And on a special note, the volunteers, our 17 volunteers from the concession stand, would like to thank you for letting us run the concession stand to help our little leagues. We'll be able to help 20 youth with uniforms for next year. We helped 15 of them this year, so we want to continue that. So we hope you have hope to have your blessings for next year on this. And also, okay, that's it for the thank you. Our concern is still the roof. That's our biggest concern that we have, and I don't want to remind you of the 2 pages that we have written on here, but I know we have to reach out to state. I know we have to reach out to our aldermen because it's a big, expensive work to do. But whenever the masonry starts falling on top in the front of the field house, it's scary because we don't want it to land on the kids or hit somebody and that have a long lawsuit against us. So we would ask you to please look into this to see how we can work this. I know we sat down with Alderman Maldonado and talked to him about that. We've done a lot of other things with the lines for the bike trails for safety reasons in the streets, so I know he put some money into that. One of the things that we don't want and this is nothing against the bike race we have, but they did a lot of damage in the park in December. So they've never gotten a permit for this. So we would like you not to give them the permit to do their bike racing in December again. Because I know they practice right now, but we have a lot of people that have come to complain about the reckless riders interfering with family and children's activities and the damage they did to the landscaping there. So please look at that. I know you know that we do the Earth Day, which we bring over 500 people to clean up. We had a little problem with Carlos Chavez. I know he came out to do his 5K run, but it backed us up a lot because we had to wait until they finished so that we could start. So our program did not start at 9 o'clock. Everybody was behind schedule. I don't mind him having his bike run, but could he do it before the Earth Day celebration that we do with the Friends of the Park? Or could he do it a week after? No problem with that. But on the same day, it's too much commotion, too much traffic. We can't get into the park, and we have to wait until he's finished. This Memorial Day, I know we did not open the beach. That was a big concern for our community. Everybody was waiting for that beach to be open, and it opened later in June. So I'm hoping that we get to that sooner, and we also need to work on those sprinklers that are not functioning right. So those are my concerns and the concerns from the advisory. They're not here tonight because we have a meeting tonight over there, so they're bringing up more concerns. So thank you very much for listening to me. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie. Teresa. Okay. Okay.
As long as it's a total of 2 minutes together.
Wonderful. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for some of the jobs that you have done and some of the repairs that have been done on the park that we presented to you 2 years ago. Some of the jobs were done. Unfortunately, not all of them were. We're still waiting on some of the floors that we've been hoping to get since the year 2008. We were budgeted to get new floors in our assembly room, which we are still waiting for. Thank you for the window repairs that we have gotten done in some of the gym area. But the only thing is now some of the repairs that they've done, they kind of painted the windows, so now they're painted shut. They won't open and no air goes in. Also, as you can see in some of the pictures that we have brought to you, that there are some issues where the swimming pool area is. A lot of the brick is falling apart, where some of it is to the point where one more year it's no longer going to be up there. It's going to be falling down. Also, the park benches, they're about probably older than I am. they're all rotted away, and the concrete on them is like no longer repairable. They keep putting in new wood on there, but there's no sense on putting new wood when the benches are constantly rocking and breaking all the time now. As you can see in the pictures there that we've given you as well, the benches there, they're majority all broken. What else would I like to say? We would still like some of your support to help us with the children play lot that we're trying to build. We are doing some great fundraisers that we've been doing. We had 3 successful fundraisers that we raised some pretty good money that we're hoping to do some more, which we actually have another fundraiser coming up in October, the 13th. And we're hoping that we have a great success on that part. Also, some of the doors and in the handicap area, we still have the handicap thing, but it's not accessible for handicap. They did put a brand new water fountain outside for the handicap people, but no water is running through there, so it's just sitting there like decoration.
Please wrap up your comments.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry?
Please wrap up your comments.
That's basically it.
I got it. I know I know Dvorak Park very well, and last year I made a point to let everyone. I have seen every park in the Chicago Park District. I mean, we have 600 parks. I know Dvorak very well. This is the part of the night I just want to remind everyone that a lot when we talk about capital expense, typically the Chicago Park District is by law only allowed to issue so much debt each year to make capital repairs. That is typically $35 million a year. 2/3, 60% of that $35 million goes to maintenance and repair, because fortunately or unfortunately, we are the proud owners in Chicago of over 250 buildings. So buildings, while beautiful like Douglas Park, they cost a lot of money to maintain and repair them, because some of these buildings, I mean, Dvorak, how old is it? 50, 60, 70 years old?
Oh, a lot older than
right. 100 plus. Right. Great. And it's a landmark and everything else. So when you take the $35 million and you allocate it to parks like Dvorak or Humboldt or Douglas, and then you divide each ward by 50, you're left with about $130,000 to $200,000 a year. That's nothing. That's nothing. It's not even a playground. So what it has forced us to do is, over the years, is be very creative, be very aggressive in the way we seek out funds, and look for partners. We do the best we can to try to tackle all the issues we can. Broken benches, we can fix that. Broken windows, we can fix that. But when we have to take on a major capital expense that may cost $4 or $5 million, oftentimes it either takes TIF, elected officials being able to contribute their menus, or the state legislature at one time had money for us, but that's gone sort of by the wayside more recently. Or we cobble the money together over several years. I do take all these seriously. These are real problems. Thank you for the pictures, and we will work with you,
Okay, thank you.
further at Dvorak. Uh-oh. That wasn't 30 seconds, by the way, Teresa. Oh, you're 30 seconds. Okay.
I just wanted to ask that you keep in mind that Dvorak Park is also the mother park of playgrounds in the area. Troop Street Playground, Lupe Reyes Playground, and Jefferson Park or Playground. And if that budget is supposed to cover all of those playgrounds, we have a hard time. So we are really raising money seriously. And like Chewy said, we want to have several fundraisers before January so we could receive the new playground and other necessary improvements that we need. That's it. Thank
Great.
you. And we're at 1119 West Cullerton in the Pilsen community.
Great. Thank you.
The next 3 speakers, Robert Nichols, Jose Lopez, Heather Breams,
Thank you.
Good evening. First of all, I'd like everyone to join with me in giving a round of applause to Mr. Kelly and his staff for all they do to make Chicago parks what they are. You know, I'm a strong believer that it's a poor dog that don't wag his own tail. And even though we have some issues and some concerns, we still have to be grateful for all of the parks and beautiful landscaping that Chicago has to offer. I'm Robert Nichols. I'm the Vice President of Ellis Park Advisory Council, and we're located at 37 the Cottage Grove. I would like to make some requests of the Park District on some of the minor things that we need in order to make the park better for our particular patrons and community. First of all, we need the light fixtures repaired in such a way that they actually are showing that they do come on. We want to make sure that trees are cut such that there's no obstruction to the light. Sometimes this type darkness causes a bad behavior. We also want to provide adequate signage. I know that since I've been in Chicago, I find that a lot of times people that are from Chicago actually feels that everyone know all of the rules of the city. And when you move here, you really don't. So we need to make sure that signage is in the park to let them know what can happen to them if they do not adhere to the park rules and ordinances for the city, and to make sure that those are congruent with each other. We also want to make sure we have a comfort station. At Ellis Park, we really have no restroom facilities whatsoever. We have a lot of different activity with the schools having their practice out there as well as soccer teams, but there's no comfort station there. And we'd also like to have an arts and recreation center for the citizens of Chicago and the citizens in the nearby area. We are really lacking on that area of town, and I heard you say about how much they cost. I think somebody's going to address that a little later, but we certainly like to have one over in Ellis Park area to service the Bronzeville area. We also would like adequate fencing to cover the area in which we have. So in closing, I'd like for you to allocate these expenses to greatly increase our safety in the park and increase the park in a positive way, and to provide thousands of citizens in the area with a park that we can all be proud of. So when you come out to the Gospel Fest next year, you can think about us and what we've done for the Park District. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, we're from Kelly Park, Brighton Park neighborhood. And I want to acknowledge that all of the Kelly Park people are here in Brighton Park. ¿Se pueden levantar? So we're being supported too. My name is Jose Lopez. I'm a treasurer in Kelly Park Council, and she's Monica Rodriguez. She's the secretary, and she's going to say it in Spanish, and I'm going to translate it into English.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Monica Rodriguez. I'm the secretary of the Kelly Park Advisory Council. La semana pasada tuvimos la oportunidad de hablar con la mesa directiva del Distrito de Parques acerca de la renovación del Parque Kelly. Estamos alentados por la recepción positiva que nos dieron. Hemos venido a esta audiencia del presupuesto para dar un paso más adelante en nuestro camino de la renovación de nuestro parque, el Parque Kelly. Hemos revisado el plan de capital de mejoría para los años 2012-2016, pero tal fue la decepción al ver que muchas mejorías están previstas para todos los parques de toda la ciudad, incluyendo a muchos parques de barrios ricos, y la única mejoría para el Parque Kelly fue la pavimentación de una pequeña acera. Por supuesto, estamos agradecidos por la nueva acera que está pavimentada, pero queremos que todo el parque sea renovado. ¿Cómo es posible que se hagan arreglos en otros parques que no lo necesitan cuando nuestro parque es inseguro y no tiene opciones para nuestros niños? Por tal motivo, pedimos la renovación. No estamos pidiendo un lujo, sino una necesidad. Hoy pedimos que sean incluidos en este presupuesto los $3 millones que necesitamos para la renovación de nuestro parque. Nuestro barrio lo ha llamado el Parque Desierto, y no es justo para nuestros hijos ni para la comunidad. Estamos muy agradecidos de que ustedes nos brinden parte de su preciado tiempo para escuchar nuestras peticiones, y más agradecidos vamos a estar si realmente toman en cuenta nuestro proyecto para el Parque Kelly.
Last week, we had the opportunity to talk with the Board of Commissioners about the need to renovate Kelly Park. We were encouraged by the positive reception we received from them. We are coming to this budget hearing to continue down this path of seeking full funding for the renovation of our park, Kelly Park. We have reviewed the Chicago Park District's 2012 and 2016 capital improvement plan, but we're quite disappointed to find that many improvements are planned for parks all throughout the city, including many in park-rich neighborhoods, but only one improvement for Kelly Park was included: paving pathways. Of course, we appreciate the new sidewalk that was paved, but we want the entire park renovated. How is it possible that the park district is able to make improvements in other parks that don't really need it, especially when our park remains unsafe and there are no other options for our children? For this reason, we are asking for the renovation of Kelly Park, not for frivolous reasons like wanting a fancy park, but for necessity. Today, we're asking the park district to include us in the budget for the $3 million that is needed to renovate Kelly Park. Our neighborhood, that has been called a park desert, needs a renovated park. We ask the park district to allocate $3 million in the park district budget to renovate Kelly Park. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to listen to our concerns, and we look forward to the day when we can thank you for completing the renovation of Kelly Park.
Thank you. Thank you, and I think we're meeting next week or in 2 weeks with Commissioner Salgado as well. Yep. Thank you.
I'm here with the McKinley Park Advisory Council. If my McKinley Park fellow Advisory Council people will stand. We also want to thank you for this opportunity to present our needs to you, as well as thank Vito Mastrodano and Mike Hicksenbaugh, our area supervisors, who've been very helpful with us. We just formed in the spring, but we're very excited about the prospect of getting a new playground for our park. Again, the Park District has been wonderful in the resources that it's given to McKinley Park. It's kind of a jewel of the South Side with the lagoon and the new soccer field and the pool. Unfortunately, we feel that the playground has been one area that's been sort of neglected for about 20 years. So our hope is to partner with the Park District and our elected officials to get a new playground. With the soccer field in particular that was put in about 2 years ago, it's generated a lot more traffic into the park, and with the playground being right next to it, it's very busy. We know that the soccer field is also a revenue generator. We understand that that revenue just kind of goes into the budget like all the other programs, but we estimate that hopefully about $3,000 a week can be raised from that soccer field, and we feel that if the playground is better and has more improvements and is safer for children and more appropriate for children, we can hopefully entice more soccer leagues, which would bring more revenue. We've had my husband play soccer, and we've had some other people say it's not one of the best places to play soccer because there's no safe place for the kids to play. It's either overcrowded. And one of the big problems with our playground is just having one structure. Young kids and big kids are trying to play together. My 2-year-old's fallen off a number of times, as well as the other parents. So it's just not a safe structure for all age children, yet we have children of all ages frequently at the park. So we'd like to give them a safe place to play out on the playground, as well as local schools and the programs that all use the playground. We have met with Senator Munoz, Representative Acevedo, both aldermen, because we're kind of in a position where the alderman wards are changing, but thankfully Cardenas and Balser have been working with us on different ways we can get some fundraising done, as well as the Archer Western TIF. So we're just requesting that the Park District include us potentially on the capital budget as well to help us get this project moving forward.
Great, thank you.
The next 3 speakers are Jesse Calderon, Omar Van Opstel, Arthur Relaford.
Hey, how you doing, Michael?
Hi.
Yeah, how you doing? Yep. How you doing, buddy?
Hi.
Thank you.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
First, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out.
Where are you?
The Chicago Park District for having these meetings. I come from a small park, Wayne Park. About 3 years, this park has been unsupervised for the past 3 years, and I don't know how that's possible. It's a small park hidden behind the tracks, one baseball field and a small playground and a basketball court. We have a beautiful field house, but nobody's there to open the bathrooms or hold any type of programming there. This is our Hoyne Park Pack is new. We started in the spring, so we're kind of new at this. So we're asking for guidance on how we can partner with the Chicago Park District to get a supervisor there.
I'm going to ask you to see Vaughn Bryant, our Chief Program Officer, and continue this discussion with him in the back.
Great, great. There's a Little League Baseball organization that runs out of that park too. They have over 350 kids in their program on one field. Is there a way we can partner with them with the Chicago Park District to man that field house? So I'll continue that. That's a question for him.
Yeah, continue that discussion with Vaughn.
All right.
That's the most appropriate way of.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank
you for your time.
Yep. Thank you. Omar?
First of all, I just wanted to thank both city officials for being here and everyone else as well. My name is Omar Van Opsel. I'm the Education Coordinator at Youth Opportunities Unlimited, a Department of Casa Central agency. When I say the words innovative, professional, committed, and thoughtful, those words perfectly describe not only these two fine young people behind me, but also 28 more who helped create our urban plan proposal for Humboldt Park. I had the privilege of co-laborating with creative professionals and able-minded teenagers to create this solid redesign that you have in that binder. And this creative undertaking is a total of over 2,880 hours among 30 youth and about 4 professionals who work with them. Some of those being Ann Fenema, who has a master's in urban planning, Nico Sanchez, junior architect at Carol Ross Barney, Bonnie Toss, a consultant for the Trust for Public Land and Bloomingdale Trail Project, and Michael Lang, project manager of the Chicago Park District. This design concept, it's a manifestation of around 200 community surveys from young and old who both use the park. And we've based this design on community input and statistics. We found that the average age in Humboldt Park is approximately 27 years, which confirmed the need for this to be a priority in the community to redesign this park. We also did adult surveys, 80% of them taken by people over 18, as well as over 90 child surveys, average age being 6. Nearly 30% of the children listed both swings and water system as priority, as you see in the design, and also 35% of the children reported getting hurt on the playground due to insufficiencies. In addition to community input, our team of students and professionals researched cost-effective materials such as recycled goods and came up with a total of around $100,593.36. That's not including labor. Our statistics teams also discovered the park is surrounded by various organizations and environmental groups that we can partner with. And in conclusion, I just want to say I've been in social work for over 7 years now. I've hired many kids for summer projects. This is the first one that I've seen math, science, all the creative arts, including architecture and urban planning, combined into one project. It's a phenomenal project, and I'm really encouraging you to seriously consider the park redesign since it is based on community input and the needs of the community. Thank you for your time, and thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan Alvarez was my first boss when I was a youth service coordinator 16 years ago. So, Arthur.
Good evening, and thank you, Commissioner. I'd like to mention that Bronzeville and the Grand Boulevard community, there are rising property values, a lot of new building, rising income levels. I want to thank President Prankwinkle for helping to build Mandrake Park, Alderman Burns for his efforts now, Art Richardson and Jackie Payne, who are working hard to maintain the parks. Even though there is a grant and the football field and the track are being rebuilt, but there's a need for monitoring and supervision. The park was built in 2000, but there was no room for a field office. And it's necessary so that things don't get torn down. Safety and security are a prime need. So we're looking there's a comfort station that was built in 2000, but we're looking to close off the porches so that an office can be there for a park district official to provide supervision, so that, again, people can enjoy the park in safety and comfort. And some other things that have been done. The park has been somewhat neglected, even though residents are becoming increasingly involved. The Pershing Road metal fence requires painting. It's an eyesore in a rising community. The Northeast Baseball Diamond backstop needs repairing. Cracks in the tennis court surface need repairing. The cracks throughout the basketball surface need repairing. Brick column at the southeast entry, which was damaged in a car accident, was never replaced, even though the person had insurance. There needs to be a sprinkler for the young children because the population is growing, and there's really, on hot days, there's nothing for the young children to do. Their car stop barriers need repairing, broken swings, although they may have been done. Broken merry-go-round needs replacing, and the inner courtway missing flower pots. They were broken, and perhaps if not replaced, this can be where the sprinkler can be. And again, the community thanks you for all that you've done. Much more needs to be done, and the advisory council is willing to learn how to raise money to help to fund these, but primarily to close off one of the porches on the comfort station for supervision. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next three speakers are Joe Garcia, Scott Maisel, and Caldwell, I'm sorry, I can't make out the last name, McGarrick. Oh, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am here as a representative for State Senator Martin Sandoval. Senator Sandoval urges the Chicago Park District to prioritize Kelly Park renovations of $2.8 million for next year's budget. Senate Resolution number 796 was filed on May 29 by Senator Sandoval, and it reads as follows. Whereas the Chicago Tribune reported that Brighton Park neighborhood is the most park-poor neighborhood in the city of Chicago, the community has one small neighborhood park, Kelly Park, which is the recreational focal point for all of its 48,000 residents. And whereas Kelly Park has received little money for improvements over the past 40 years, the renovation of Kelly Park is a fundamental step in the community's efforts to address street violence and provide a safe environment for children and adults. And whereas Brighton Park Neighborhood Council and the Kelly Park PAC have united to advocate for park improvements, renovations, and safety, and whereas Chicago Park District has assigned to project manager to Kelly Park, who has drafted designs for the park. These proposed renovations include artificial turf field, the new playground equipment and benches, baseball diamonds, a proper drainage system, new sidewalks, and adequate lighting and cameras in all areas of the park. The cost to renovate is estimated at $2.8 million. Therefore, be it resolved by the Senate of the 97th General Assembly of the State of Illinois that we urge Chicago Park District to prioritize in its capital plan to renovate Kelly Park in Brighton Park neighborhood of the 12th Ward of the City of Chicago by 2014, and be it further resolved that suitable copy of the resolution be delivered to Chicago Park District. Thank you.
Scott.
Good evening. My name is Scott Maisel. I'm the new president of the Mary Bartolome Park in the West Loop, which is on Sangamon and Adams. We're very lucky to have this park. It just started, I guess it was 10 years in the making. It opened in 2010. We have no real maintenance issues. It was designed very well by Ernie Wong. It is got a great play area, great dog-friendly area. We as a Park Advisory Council are having fundraisers, and it's going very nicely. The central focus point of this are the architecturally designed hexagonal metal structures that have, since day one, unfortunately have not functioned as they should. They are supposed to mist and bring out water. We've heard it from the parents, the community. We've brought it up with the aldermen. We have had, we believe, the contractor who put them in, that you guys subcontracted to, out several times. They cannot get them to work. So we've heard it numerous times. We've asked our area manager, the alderman, and the park district. For some reason, this does not seem to be something that can be fixed on a permanent basis. Of the 2.5 or 3 seasons almost we've had, we've collectively think that the misters have worked for maybe a couple of weeks. It's such a focal point. The kids love it. The parents love it. We've seen photo shoots, weddings, all that, all under this. It's even on like Channel 5 News as one of the architecturally unique things in the park. Otherwise, we have a phenomenal park. Everything's great. This is the one issue that we hear time and time again at every monthly Park Advisory Council meeting, and we're just here to look for a solution and hope that we believe it's no longer under warranty, but it's obviously something that we can't go out and get a contractor to fix because it's a Park District property. So we ask for your help and support on that. Other than that, thanks for all that you do and providing the West Loop with a phenomenal, great park.
Right.
So.
It's a frustrating issue. Believe me, we know the issue. Hopefully we can solve it once and for all in 2013.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Caldwell? Okay. Somebody from 3315 West Polk? No one? Okay.
The next 3 speakers are Victoria Prince, Tom Kolecki, and David Kostolansky. Sorry.
Hi, how are you, Mike Kelly?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Victoria Prince, and I am a resident of the Oakwood Shores area in Bronzeville, which actually is located directly across the street from Ellis Park on 37th and Cottage Grove. I just wanted, I'm on the advisory council, but I wanted to come out today to say thank you so much. I've been on the advisory council, I guess I started about 4 years, and one of the first issues that we had was closing the park down from 11 o'clock to 9 o'clock because we were having an issue. And thank you with Jackie Payne and the Park District, we were able to get signage to put up, so that helps us so much regarding control. And I really appreciate that we had the Gospel Fest at Ellis Park this year. It was a wonderful, wonderful success, and I'm looking forward to more programming and events coming to the park because it is such a wonderful jewel in the community, and I'm hoping that with the needed aesthetics, with the lighting, broken benches, that will help in terms of bringing in more programming. But there's so much more, of course, but just our basics, the lighting, cutting down the trees so there is more lighting because of where I live, you can see how dark it is. And people like to congregate in the darkness, and it's just not safe. So we're just hoping with the lighting, that's just a start for us. And I just appreciate it. Just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you. And I'm proud to say the mayor was touting Gospel Fest today with the folks from HUD and the feds when they were in today, and we were talking about Ellis Park. So, thank you.
Okay, Superintendent Kelly, Director Azimi, Park District staff, thank you for having us here today. I'd like to start out by saying thank you for our recent hires. Dan Puente, our new park supervisor, has been a tremendous addition to the park, and we look forward to many, many great years of continued park development with him. We'd also like to thank you for Esther Garduno, our full-time attendant, Ginny Warnecki, our part-time security guard, also the basketball court additions, the security camera, help from your staff, Patrick LeVar and Michael Fuss, and in addition to Sharon Millette, who's been helping with the softball field. As you know, many of Wicker Park programs have sold out for the season, with some of them having long waiting lists. The Advisory Council has partnered with the Chicago Park District to supplement some of that programming, and we produced a number of events over the past year. Last year, in 2012, we've produced 4 movies in the park, 2 of them of which have had more than 2,000 people in attendance, 4 classical musical performances, 13 puppet shows, 4 open mics, an Earth Day, Mulch Day, May Greening event, plant sale, and Boopalooza coming up in October, which last year brought in about 2,000 people into the park. We value the contributions that we've and the community have made to about $1.5 million, and our partnership with you has been strong and mutually beneficial. Unfortunately, our budget has not seemed to keep pace with some of the continued growth in our park. Some of the budget items I'd like you to consider are reinstating a full-time physical instructor position and remove a third of the hours allocated to the part-time position. For years, we had 1 full-time physical instructor and 1 part-time physical instructor. That would bring more programming into the park and allow our park to be utilized more of the working hours. Also, we'd like to hire a part-time attendant. This position has been vacant for about a year, and park usage is very high. Some of the other things I have on my list are increasing the field house's summer hours from May to October. We do have a lot of traffic coming through the park during the summer, especially during the summer hours, and increasing that would only would facilitate their needs. Increasing janitorial and some general contractual services in addition to the other hires. We've also put on HVAC for capital improvements. The reason is during the last the teacher strike, Wicker Park staff was actually shipped out to other parks, and our park was not able to be utilized as a place for children to go during the day because we don't have HVAC. So we are in a high density area. It would be great to have the children of the neighborhood in the neighborhood spending time at our park. So sidewalk improvements and some upgrades to some features in the playground would also be beneficial to the park and to the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. David? Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kelly. And Juliet, I didn't catch your last name. I'm sorry.
You could have just dropped these off at our office. You're right around the corner.
I've been over at your office. I take classes in arthritis in that building 3 times a week. Thank you. I really want to appreciate the things that you have done in the city and the beautification and we've worked together with you. Local citizens maintain the gardens in our park. You probably know Lakeshore Park is between Chicago Avenue, the Museum of Contemporary Art, and Lakeshore Drive, which is not the best thing to be right next to, although it's beautiful on the other side. It's one of the oldest parks. If you dig down, you'll find some of the fill from the Chicago fire being behind the water tower. It's right in the center of the city, and as you can see in one of the pictures, I unfortunately couldn't figure out which pictures to use. I put together the ones I thought would help. There were 297, and I figured you wouldn't look at all those. So I picked some that go along with some of the points we want to make. We do have a quarter-mile track, and it's used nightly by 100-plus marathon runners. Groups have come from all over the city, and they train there. And there's also local people who like to run and people who like to walk on that track. Later I'll talk about the fact that the track is disintegrating. It's mixed recreational use. 60% of the square feet, I think, is softball fields. 20% is the field house, which, as you know from history, is very old. Not one of the buildings that you were talking about in the budget of building things that will last for a long time. And it shows its wear. And it also includes, that 20% includes the playground, which is right on the drive, which is not the best place to send your kids. There's also the tennis courts, which get used heavily. In fact, recently when someone decided the lights were to be turned off at 11 o'clock, there was still a line of people waiting to play tennis. So it switched from tennis to people not playing tennis and being on there. We have a potential in that area to expand to meet the growing needs of the area. I've lived there for 21 years, and when I first moved there, next to me were 3 low-rise buildings that had been empty for 10 years. I think it was the old American Hospital Association. Now there are 3 high-rises. There are more dogs in those 3 buildings than there were people in that area before. And then they started building other high-rises south in Streeterville and on the other side of Michigan Avenue. And as you know, there's so many people there now that they had to break our area off of one of the alderman's areas because it was 26,000 people, too many compared to the last census. So we have a growing number of people there. We also have the new hospitals, which bring more and more people there, which will go to one of the safety issues I wanted to mention. It's a significant oversight by the neighborhood people. We try to keep it up, we try to do our best, but we're limited. We're limited in knowledge as to what we can do, what we're allowed to do, and how we can partner with you. In the safety area, again, the pictures I gave you are just some examples. In lighting, so happens when the tennis court lights went off, there's a walkway between the Museum of Contemporary Art and the tennis courts. That's where all the nurses and doctors from Children's go through there at all hours of the night because of their varying shifts, as well as Northwestern, as well as Northwestern students, as well as the local citizens, and now it is extremely dark. The picture I took was too dark to print, and it's very dangerous. And as you know, we've had flash mobs there, and we've had to, some of us have helped support the police in that effort, but we need lighting in that area. And on the other edges of the field, trees have grown up and blocked the lights, and so some tree trimming would help us in that area. Another very significant safety issue which we've been raising, I personally started raising before being on the council. We have a number of covers, I'm not sure what they are, plastic covers in the field. I have a feeling they have something to do with the irrigation system. But the plastic has broken through, and there's a picture of one there where you could put your foot through it. Now, sadly, when the grass gets cut, the grass gets thrown over that, and people can't always see these big holes in the field. We also have some drainage covers, which one person's been sent to the hospital because they were knocked out when they fell on it. Another person has had a significant neck injury. I won't say who that was.
I'm going to ask you to wrap up your comments.
Okay.
I know this park. I know this park very well. I know the issues, and I can assure you that I have met with the Children's Hospital, Northwestern University, the MCA. This is a classic example of there are institutions that use that park, and they do have means to partner with us. And actually, I'm optimistic that there will be improvements coming in the future. I am aware of these. This is a very popular park. It's a very popular park with employees that work at Park District Central Admin. But this is a park that I firmly believe we need partners to step up and help us make these improvements. So I take your comments seriously, and we will work on all the ones that we can fix right away. We will work on them.
Please, if I can wrap up quick, please help somebody address those safety issues as quickly as possible.
Yep.
And the last point on there is we do want to partner. We do know that we need to get money from some of those organizations, as well as we have a number of people that live around there who are willing to participate.
Right.
Whether it's small things or big things.
Right.
Please assign someone, because when we asked for help, we were told there is no project manager because there's no project. Well, there can't be a project.
Who said that to you? Who said that?
I got that secondhand. It came through the area to our supervisor of our park, to our
that's
park
okay.
manager.
So that was wrong.
Well, I came down and talked to some of your people,
Right.
and it came away more optimistic, but we need your help.
Yeah.
We need someone to steer us in the right direction. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. So is there anyone else who would like to speak who hasn't had a chance yet? Okay, with that, then I will, okay. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Ersman. I'm with the Prairie District Neighborhood Alliance, and I'm also on the Advisory Council for Chicago Women's Park and Gardens. The main issues we're looking at for our area of the South Loop is a few issues. Number one, Women's Park. The funding has been stalled for that for 3 years. It poses some issues with not having the space to perform any programs, as well as problems with, on the outside, we've got courtyard patio that's in pretty bad disrepair. That's probably a significant liability issue. Additionally, the other park nearby is Mark Twain Park. That park was approved about 3 years ago by the Chicago Park District to do some work. The problem we're facing is that a lot of the TIF funds have been robbed for other activities outside the TIF district. And just recently, I think last year, the mayor declared his TIF surplus, took $50 million, and he's taken another $50 million this year back into TIF, back into general funds. And so these projects that have been on the books probably since 2006, 2007 are being completed. And you know, there's issues of the state of repair and just the population density. You know, there's really nothing east of Michigan for a lot of these kids to go to on some of those parks there. The third issue we have was a project that was in the capital plan for Chicago Park District at 16th and Indiana. The plan was to convert that to to turn that over from the developer to the Chicago Park District, and the community was in full support of that. Recently, there's been activities and discussion that a private developer is trying to take that lot and turn it into a parking lot, and the community had reached out to the alderman in the Park District, and what this private party is claiming is that the Chicago Park District doesn't want the land. And our discussions with Gia Biaggi and the other capital coordinators seems to indicate otherwise. And just want to get some dialogue on the future plans for that park as well, to make sure it gets back in the plan, because the cost to turn it over was basically going to be nothing.
16th and Indiana is that existing park right now, right?
It's a publicly accessible park, but it's privately owned.
Is it a dog run right now?
Currently, there's a small dog run with it, yes. But the 16th and Wabash you're thinking of is where the Fred Anderson Park. That's a couple blocks away.
That's going to be the 2-acre dog park.
Yeah, that's a 2-acre dog park. This is about 2-3 blocks away from there.
You know what? I'm going to ask you to, if you want to follow up with Pat, our COO, on the issues right there. Okay. I would caution anybody. We already had a hearsay issue on the gentleman before. When people speak for us and they say, "Oh, the Park District doesn't want this or that," don't always believe everything.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's uncanny, some of the things I hear that people say that about us. So.
Our discussions with the Park District have been excellent, so there's no problem on the Park District end.
Right. I mean, in the challenge in your communities with Women's Park is, I mean, we want as badly as anyone to develop that second and third floor at the building, because we know we're at capacity there. We were at capacity almost the minute we cut the ribbon on the first floor, right?
Absolutely.
So, okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so with that, that was our last speaker for the evening. I want to once again, for everybody who stuck around, thank you again for your comments. We do take this very seriously. I do want to remind everyone we have one final budget hearing on Monday, September 24th. It is at Horner Park. And if you can't make it, again, we will be streaming live at www.chicagoparkdistrict.com. Thank you again for your comments, and enjoy your evening.